Ba bee da boo da boo, ba bee da boo da boo. Hey, what's up everyone? So with that little introduction, we are actually going to be talking about Paladins today, and in particular, a new champion by the name of Imani, as we're seeing there on camera. And I have to say that it is a lot of fun to actually play with her, and especially in her ultimate form when she turns into a dragon, as we're seeing there, just tearing apart the other team. She is a character that you do have to have quite a bit of skill to actually play with. It's she has really slow attacks, but it's just, you know, when you have a good team around you and you can be protected from the flanks, this is actually one of the more funner characters to play. It is, like I said, it does require a little bit of skill to land some of your shots and stuff, but man, it is gratifying. And yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Imani today. I know I'm a little bit late to the party, but hey, you know what, better late than never. I've been meaning to make this video on Imani for a little while now, but man, like I said, she's a lot of fun to play. Alright, so first and foremost, what we're going to be talking about is Imani, and her ultimate is a dragon. She can actually turn into a dragon, which you can control. It is so cool to actually do this for the first time. You're like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. It is clunky though. There are some levels where the dragon, instead of, you know, kind of following and trying to, you know, get around the level a little bit better, it bumps into walls. You have to be really careful with it. Sometimes you're stuck at a wall and you have to kind of just turn the whole camera before you can actually make a turn, which is the bad thing about it. But one of the coolest things is when you see this actual dragon just come at you for the first time, you're like, oh my goodness, that is crazy, that is awesome. And yeah, it's really cool to actually fly up and down. You can go up really high in levels and really low and get through archways and stuff like that, so it is a lot of fun. Most of her attacks with the dragon are just the dragon breath, and it's so much fun. The left trigger is actually what you can control the dragon with and all the fire, and I just go ahead and just hold it down while I'm flying up and down, which with left bumper and right bumper on the Xbox, and then on the PlayStation it's L1 and R1 to go up and down. So she is an elementalist, which is something I actually really like a lot. She can switch between elements, between fire and ice, and that's one of the coolest things. Some of your attacks are really powerful, especially when you get your mana going really high. It's actually one of the more gratifying things to just splash someone with a fireball for 1,000 in damage and to just see them scurrying and running and everything like that. But one thing I do wish that they would have done a little bit different, she has a frost bomb, which I'm going to show here in a little bit. She has a spire, which is really cool. It's just a little, like, she puts her hands in front of her and throws out a fireball in front of her, or you know, like a fire column. And then with the right bumper, she actually glides through the air with you know, she's on some ice and she's gliding through the air, which is actually really cool. I just kind of wish that, you know, since she's in two different elements, if she was in fire form, then she should be able to to propel herself, kind of like you know, Iron Man puts his hands down straight down in the fires. I think that would actually have been pretty cool. But you know, when she's in the fire element stage, she still does a little frost glide, as they call it. So it's really cool to actually see her, you know, running around and stuff like that. It's really neat. Our right trigger, or R2, is actually her main attack, which is you know, just either you can call it like icicles, like throwing her out of her hands, which if you hit someone twice, the third one comes out automatically, and so it's like a you hit them twice and then the next attack has two attacks in one. So instead of just going one and one, and then when she hits both of those, it's like 1-2 1-2. So it's a really cool little thing. And she also does that with it's a little bit different with the fire element. You can hold down the trigger and you'll power your fireball up, so you get even more power out of it. But it's actually one of the coolest things. So you switch between elements with LB and RB. I'm sorry, LB on the Xbox, and then left one on the PlayStation. So it's actually really cool to play as her. You know, it's really neat to actually see her like gliding around and stuff like that. It's a little bit harder on console to actually glide, easier on PC. I've seen so many people when you do a lot of crossplay, they can shoot straight up in the air and just go flying like Silver Surfer. But on console, it's a lot more difficult to actually get up in the air higher. So it's actually one of the things that I think needs to be worked on a little bit for the console players a little bit. But like I said, if you have a really good team and you're not getting flanked, because she does have some slower attacks, so slower movements, so sometimes if you have a quicker Maeve or Sky or Talus on the other team, you'll actually want to get the ability of Nimble feet, the perk, or so to speak, you know. So yeah, that's one of the things that I would suggest if you are getting flanked a lot, doing Nimble, and you'll run around super quick. CAUTERIZE is one thing that I almost always use, and CHRONOS is another one that I usually sometimes put on there. But Morale boost is one that you'll have to look at because you can turn into the dragon a lot more, and that's going to be a lot more cooler. Now, I do have to say, we're going to have a look at her a little bit closer. It does give me that really big, you know, Wakanda feel to it. So Wakanda forever. The way she's actually modeled and stuff like that, you can tell that they had on one screen the characters from Wakanda, and you can't really tell in her first form because she has really long hair, braided and stuff like that. But when you actually start looking at some of her character models in the game, you'll actually see that one of her alternative skins is actually where she's bald-headed. So it's actually pretty cool. It's not bad. I kind of like the way she looks in there. So there's a golden Imani. That's one that I absolutely love. When you're looking at customization, the default one is more of a bluish color, but golden is when you actually master her at level 20, if I'm not mistaken. That is actually one of the cooler skins that I have seen, and I'm like, wow, like just to have a look at her and her different forms is really neat. And that's one of the things I really enjoyed about her. I was like, oh, that's some of the nicer customizations that there is for champions in Paladin. There's a lot of them that I don't really care for, but this one with Imani is actually one of the ones that I really enjoy. So yeah, like I said, Warder is the one that definitely gives me that Wakanda or that Black Panther kind of view, or that, you know, it just, I could tell like that's what they got inspired with. But I absolutely love the golden Imani when you're actually a mastery level of 20, I think, with her. So it's either 20 or 50, but even the Snowdrift is actually really cool. She reminds me a lot of the character from X-Men, which is Storm, if I'm not mistaken. So she's actually really cool looking. I like her a lot. And like I said, a lot of her attacks are a lot slower, but it is when you start mastering her, you start getting to know how she actually plays. It's really fun. So let's go ahead and go back into what we actually have the abilities. Now, these are some of the tips that I'm going to give you guys when you're actually playing as Imani. When you have the left trigger, or the L2 ability, which is actually the snow bomb, that is actually something that you'll kind of want to aim up a little bit higher so it kind of arcs, and if you're throwing it over a wall, you'll kind of surprise people. It's something that I've actually started to learn and using. You kind of arc it, you throw it up, and then you can actually explode it mid-air, which is really cool. So you can actually, when you hit people with it, you cause quite a bit of damage. I think it's either 600 or 800 points. But it's actually one of the cooler things that you can actually plant people. So once you hit them, they'll be stunned right there, and they'll be planted where they can't actually move. So that's one thing you'll want to keep in mind. And that does have, you know, that's one of more favorite moves that I have for her. The regular attacks, like I said, you can have a little bit of skill because most of the time your champions are going to be like, your opponents are going to be jumping up and down, going different places. But if you can aim those attacks, you can usually get rid of someone about, you know, that's not a tank or a front line. You can get rid of them pretty quickly. So if you aim your shots properly, that's actually one of the things you really want to keep in mind in aiming them. Like I said, it is a little bit tougher, but it's so cool. And what you want to do is use Frost Glide to get everywhere. You do actually have a perk where you can actually where you'll actually start healing yourself if you go into Frost Glide. So Frost Glide can get you out of a situation, go around a corner really quickly away from the enemy team, or, you know, it also use it to get to higher places, and you can actually get more of an advantage when you want to throw that frost bomb. And when you push LB or L1, you'll actually switch elements. So you'll switch into the fire form of her. And this one, I suggest that you actually hold down the trigger a little bit longer and have it powered up where you can actually use it against someone, especially against frontline players. I love using that against them, and, you know, even smaller, squishier characters. That's what I love actually doing. And it's so much fun to actually help someone when they're being attacked, and you can actually come in and save their life with a 1,000 and, you know, hit with Imani. So that's actually really cool. And like I said, Frost Glide, I use it to get out of situations that really quickly, and you get around really quickly, so you can actually go and help someone that's being attacked from the sides and stuff, and you can actually dominate with this character. And, you know, ultimately the dragon, as you're seeing here, you can fly it up high in the sky, and you can just rain down death on people, and then just fly all over the place and trying to get people that are unsuspecting, kind of like this Barrack character. And it's kind of clunky where you kind of get stuck on the walls and stuff like that, so you have to be really careful. If to get yourself out of a situation like that, instead of just flying into something, you have to turn your camera, so make a right or left hand turn, go straight for a little bit, and then turn back, so you'll be able to do that. I just kind of wish that you know, it would have been a little bit different where you can actually bump into the wall, and then the game will actually just kind of like guide you in one direction. So yeah, guys, that's Imani. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I am going to sign out now. If you guys want me to do like a tips or a guide kind of thing for these champions, just let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, leave a like if it helped you out, if you liked it. And yeah, guys, I will see you there in the realm. I'm signing out now. I will see you when I see you.